Salutations, Frags here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about a game that's been out for a couple of months now. I'm a little late to the party, but things have been happening in my life, and well, my PC totally broke down basically, and I just figured I wanted to give this game a little bit of a mention and also I got a review code of it. Don't hate me, Evolve PR. Anyway, Stronghold is a pretty popular series. It's not a Command Conquer or Warcraft or anything like that, but it's a pretty popular RTS series. It had a few good, like 1 and 2 good games, and then it went to shit. Stronghold 3. Stronghold has always focused, Stronghold is a bit different in terms of an RTS game, right? So it's more focused on building your castle and then defending. Stronghold is a series that was made. It's like a wet dream for the turtlers. And by turtlers, I don't mean people who like doing things with turtles. I mean people who like to actually defensively turtle. It's a type of RTS strategy, right? So this is a game made specifically for people who like to turtle, right? And the new game by Firefly Studios, I think that's what they're called, right? Firefly Studios, yes. It's called Stronghold Warlords. It came out March of 2021 this year, and it's for the first time they're doing it in Asia. I mean, the game is not being done in Asia, or it was developed in Asia. I mean that the setting of the game is set in Asia, which is something that, I guess when people talk about medieval castles and things like that, well, Asia doesn't come to mind. Other than the Great Wall of China, I guess most people don't see Asian like castles and settlements with like big walls and defenses and stuff, like boiling oil and things like that. But somehow they've managed to make an RTS game around this region. I by the way, I'm in Asia. In time frame, I would say maybe slightly early medieval, I guess. I'm not really an expert in terms of the timeline, talking about a Han dynasty or something like that. There's like the Chinese emperor and some other like Vietnamese. I think they are the Mongols as well. The campaign, right? The campaign is like, I guess, what most people play. I don't know, I'm sorry, I might be wrong there, but I think a lot of people do play the campaign, and the campaign actually follows a particular formula where you play around a specific faction story, right? You've got the Chinese and the Vietnamese and stuff, and you also have an economic series of mission or campaign which really focuses on the economy and not so much in terms of building armies and stuff, which by the way is a bit of a misleading title to name this as economic campaign, I guess, because even in the economic campaigns you have to defend against some small raids and stuff, not as big as like those military campaigns, but some small raids, so you still need some sort of defenses. Remember what I said about this thing, Crusader, why did I say Crusader? Stronghold Crusaders was actually a thing, but anyway, remember that Stronghold and Warlords, the new one, is a game about defense and building walls and stuff. So one of the things that makes it pretty different and unique to other RTS games is that the economy and the base building is like totally different from other RTS games. Like, you can immediately plonk down a building, like a building just appears there, a wall just appears there, a tower just appears there. Click on the train units and the units just come out of the buildings just like that. The only things that take time are you collecting resources, like for instance from the mines and making bows and stuff, right? And armor, and your citizens, or is it villagers? Let's just call them citizens, right? So the citizens system is sort of unique in the sense that they generate at a specific time, like as long as you keep everyone happy, they keep coming in, as long as you have enough housing for them, right? And these citizens are people who can work in your economy, toiling in the fields, making rice, or in the mines, or they can be trained as your military units, right? Basically, you can do whatever you want with them, and everything is super easy, right? In terms of there's no micromanagement in terms of economy so much. Just plonk down the buildings, just train a number of units. As long as you have enough citizens, they will just walk out and come out and do those things. In terms of actually really coming up with an army and stuff, you can pretty much come up with an army like pretty damn quick, as long as you have the resources for it. You can immediately just press like a couple of times, and that's it. You've got an army. I guess for people who are into traditional RTS games, that may seem like what the hell, right? One of the best things about RTS games is base building, right? Like I know that Relic actually ruffled a few feathers in strategy game community when they made Dawn of War 2, isn't it? Was it Dawn of War 2? It was Dawn of War 2 where they removed base building when Dawn of War had base building and stuff. I mean, now if you look back to it, that was really like a storm in a teacup, I suppose. Like, not many people actually give a damn about it. In the end of the day, Dawn of War 2 was its own unique game. However, Dawn of War 3, oh, that's another story for another day. I'm already digressing here. I'm already going on a tangent on other games. Anyway, I've got to keep this thing focused on this game. So one of the main problems I have with this game is that, look, as I said, this game is about defending, right? And Stronghold has always been that game where I build a massive wall, trebuchets start coming in. The entire thing is scripted. From the very first Stronghold game, all the campaigns and stuff is scripted. At a certain amount of time, like a huge, I don't know, what do you call it? A huge, massive wave of enemy, I guess. Yeah, you get waves, right? This is sort of like, I suppose the Stronghold can be considered as a tower defense game of sorts, I guess, you know, because you get waves of enemies, right? The problem with Stronghold Warlords, and I don't know whether this is the same with the aforementioned Stronghold 3, the problem with it is that a lot of the single player missions, a lot of it, not all of it, focus on you actually attacking the enemy, and it becomes like a typical RTS then. Which actually I feel like that's not what I like about Stronghold games. I really dig the whole thing about building up a castle and stuff, but that's not what they're doing here. You know, like why are you forcing me to play this thing? Now, multiplayer and skirmish is a different thing. You could actually play it however you want, but they are forcing me to play it this way, and this is the way that I don't like Stronghold to be, which is like I don't like Stronghold to be like a traditional RTS game. I want Stronghold to be a turtleless wet dream, right? I want to build the most massive castles, the massive walls and massive defense and boiling oil, whatever you call it, you know. I want to take down that invading army. I want to blast them to smithereens, you know. You only get certain bits and pieces of that sort of moment in this game, which is such a shame. Because I remember Stronghold was so difficult. Maybe that was one of the reasons. Maybe that's one of the reasons. The Stronghold games have always been, at least 1 and 2 have been super difficult. So maybe they sort of watered down the difficulty and made it not so crazy waves coming at you, I guess. I don't know. I think there are certainly some missions where you're just defending. Yeah, that's pretty much the case. But I think there are way too many missions focusing on other things like attacking. Like, no, don't put me on the offense, right? Stronghold is about building your stronghold and defending the heck out of it. The other thing is, you know, this is a pretty slow game. Your units take a long time to walk from one place to another. Some of the units are pretty slow. This is no StarCraft, right? Where you've got a micro and stuff like this is pretty damn slow. Units move pretty slow. So, you know, the pace of the game also can be a little slower than usual, despite the fact that you can just drop down buildings and stuff. Accumulating those resources do take time, which gets to the main mechanic. I would say is the main mechanic. This is the thing that's in the title, and that's what Firefly have been pumping about in their PR material, which came out like months before, is the Warlords mechanic. So this Warlords mechanic is kind of similar to, I guess you can think like the Company of Heroes control point or command point system, where you control these warlords. If these are independent AI warlords, if you control them, they can give you you can demand tribute from them. So the thing is that I guess it's a bit more smarter. You can demand tribute of different resources. You can even like upgrade your warlords so they give you more stuff, and there's some other perks as well. And these warlords have different kind of styles, so like they are named after animals like turtle. I don't know why I love turtles today. Turtles, tiger, and so on. So they have different focus and stuff like that. And the thing is that it's pretty neat idea of just not making just regular command points and stuff. Like these command points are people that defend themselves, and it takes some effort to actually take these warlords, right? And also you don't need to just use your military to take down warlords, right? You can also use these things called influence points, which is another mechanic of or system where you actually earn influence points. You build an embassy and some, and influence points trickle, right? Once you accumulate it a little bit, you can use the influence points to actually demand tribute. Actually, influence points are actually tied to tributes as well as being friendly or winning them over without using force. I mean, it's a very abstract sort of like mechanical sort of system of influence points and stuff. And I've always found the whole idea of those warlords really just distracting. I just want to build up my base, and now I've got to do some managing like some other warlords and stuff. It's like, you know, I feel like it's a bit of a distraction to my objective. I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. I have to press another button to see this warlord screen, and then I have to click on them and click on a bunch of buttons and then go back to the RTS map. I mean, to be fair, this all happens pretty fast. There's no loading or anything between them. It's just like two different layers there. But I just feel like it just slows down the pace of the game. Maybe in another perspective, you can look at it that the wallet system actually gives you a lot more things to do. Like in certain downtimes, you're waiting for resources to fill in and stuff. I guess warlords do help in that sense. And also the other thing, which is they've made the maps super small. They've made not the maps itself, but I mean the buildable zone, the zone where your castle can be in, where your buildings can be in. It's so freaking tiny. I thought the whole idea about Stronghold was building these massive castles with massive defense, but Warlords doesn't do that. It just makes everything smaller, and it forces you to have to take control of Warlords, because the Warlords might have access to a particular type of resources, you know. Even there's also some nice design of the map where if you have your guys who are chopping woods, right, they might go closer to the forest of where a warlord's castle is. Their archers might snipe your guys, so you might be forced to actually attack that warlord just to make sure that your workers or citizens can actually work safely. I think that was a pretty cool idea in one of the maps that I played in the single player campaign. But yeah, this is such a weird system actually. I think it's a neat idea, but the way it is implemented right now, I think it can be improved in a way. And oh my god, come on, give me a bigger map. Like, I feel like the maps have to be bigger. The single player campaigns that actually shipped with the game, I've just felt like the maps are too small. Maybe the DLC ones, they might have improved it. I think there's like 2 DLCs for this game already, but you know, I'd have to check that out like separately. However, saying that, the developers Firefly is doing whatever they can to sort of try to fix, I wouldn't say fix, but improve on the game, right? Look at what people like and what people don't like on the game and try to improve that. And you know, that's something that I feel like that's something laudable there, that I definitely would love to see what they do with Stronghold Warlords. But at the moment, like, it just does not hit those same feels of Stronghold. You know, it's not a Turtle's wet dream, unfortunately. You know, I just don't find it interesting to play this game. I'd rather just play Stronghold all over again and be a psycho or a maniac and try to take the most advanced and most difficult AI and the biggest invading sieges and stuff. I'd rather do that than play Stronghold Warlord. The whole gimmick about the Asian thing, I think you have some cool units and stuff, but really it doesn't really matter. Really, it doesn't matter. Seriously, I feel like it doesn't matter. Like, look, some of the unit like design and like the voiceovers for the units like are pretty cool. You know, they sound like, oh, authentic. Is that like Vietnamese or Thai, or is that like Chinese? We don't, I mean, I guess unless you're Asian, you probably wouldn't know. And then you've got these bunch of dudes who actually answer in English.
You need some fire? Brilliant! Of course, sir!
It seems like the entire like unit like barks and orders and like VO stuff is like not done properly or unfinished actually, and they just went like, oh, you know what, we couldn't get the VO talents to actually do this, let's just use our voice, come on, do it in English and just ship the game out. I don't know, you know, it's kind of weird to actually have units actually shouting in English when the rest of the units are talking in like different languages in Asia. That's another thing, I think it's not all the same language, it's like different languages in the same army, just really weird. But you know, I don't know, maybe their fan base don't mind that or whatever. But yeah, it's cool. I'd like to see where Stronghold Warlords moves on from here. But at this moment, I'm just not that impressed with the base game. Maybe I should check out the DLC. Like, tell me if the DLC campaigns are better and whether I should check them out. I would check them out. So that's my thoughts on Stronghold Warlords. So what do you think about Stronghold Warlords? Sound in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.
准备赴死。